Okay, there was no good video on this, so I'm gonna make it. 2020 Seadoo Spark Trixx 3-up. I have the rear deck off. 3-up's a little bit different because it has this extension piece here. The 2-up would just be here. This part wouldn't exist. So I should have made a video because there's no good video of a 3-up. But I installed a quick free flow exhaust. We'll get this out of the way. We're going to install this bilge pump. It comes with this little bracket here and this pump separately. With the blue side down, the vents, that's where it sucks fuel, water from your hole from. Just took some zip ties, zip tied it to that. The directions they give you, it's kind of clear cut, kind of stupid. I could see where people would get confused. I ran the zip tie through that, cleaned that up a little bit. These goes in there like that. These two get a bolt. It's not really a bolt, it's like a lag nut. It goes under the water box onto those two things. Second off, you're gonna need a hole saw. It says 1 1/16. I have a 1-inch and a 1 1/8. I don't have the metal size, so what I'm gonna do is use the smaller one, and if I have to, it's a plastic hole. I'll just sand it out. It's really close to fitting. I put this O-ring on there, and then I'm gonna put some RTV on the back of that. Once it goes through the hole, you're gonna have to drill a hole in the boat, ski, whatever, harness, some zip ties. These are the bolts that go into the hole. They're gonna kind of make their own threads. And then there's fuses, a bus bar, some hose clamps. There's a hole in this hose. They call it a vent. I think it's on this one. They say it's supposed to go to the top. So I'm assuming that's gonna go zip tie into that. We're not to that point yet. And we have to drill a hole in the hull at this mark here, but it's just a line. So it's like shallow here, deeper there. I'm guessing that's where they want the drill bit to go. I don't know. I'm guessing the lower port is where it would be simpler if there was just one dot there, like you're supposed to start at the top of that or bottom of that. Who the hell knows? So we'll get a hole in there, put that in there, glue it. You have to do something to the fuse box. I didn't even know where the fuse box was. It sits in there. There's a cover. It does say bilge pump on there, so 3 amps gonna go there, and then there's a bus bar at the bottom. It's to plug in there. So I pulled the cover off of there, and then mine has a clip right there. And on the other side, just took this flat screwdriver, just pushed it apart a little bit, pulled it out of there. The harness doesn't give you much room to work with, so I think there's a zip tie on the harness there. I'm going to cut it, pull it back. They recommend disconnecting the battery for this, so I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, this part's the nerve-wracking part. I just drilled a hole in my ski. Man, sketchy. Vacuum all that shit out, because that can plug up the bilge pump. Man, I can't believe I did that. I ended up taking the pump off the bracket, bolting the bracket in, and then re-zip tying it. I do not like how that sits. It's kind of cheesy, but I guess that's how it goes. It's a factory kit. And then the wiring, I think I'm gonna run like on the back side of that and try and zip tie it with the other wiring over the top of the motor and go to the fuse box with it. According to the directions, we have to remove A2 in D5. So if you pull the fuse box out like this, I cut the zip tie right there. So they have these plugs in there, like there and there. So I'm taking this one out. This is A. The next row down is B, C, and D. And then you can see at the top, you can see very faintly. It's very hard to hold this. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that one's gonna come out. And then D5. So it's the bottom row. And to the left of that black one, there's a plug in there. And then on the harness that goes into the pump, I just ran it over top of the motor. Brown one is gonna go to A2. It's gonna slide right in there. So I started working on this. You just stick a pick in there and you just grab it. You're gonna do that, pull both plugs out, shove these terminals into there. They should only go in one way. They have like a locking tang on the back of it. These things are simple to use. These are the seals. It's like just basically GM weather pack connectors. If you have any problems with these, just Google GM weather pack connectors and you can recrimp this. That's how they work. I'm gonna try to show this. Top part goes in like that. And it'll clip in and just like that, and then you just give it a little tug. You don't want to pull the wire out of there, and that's all it takes. Okay, that goes up here, 3 amp fuse. Okay, so that fuse is installed, and then I installed this bus bar. So basically what a bus bar does, it connects multiple things together. So the pin that we added was a ground, and it stole the ground off the one that was already existing there. And then there's one extra pin on the bus bar. It came with an extra one, so you can hook 3 grounds together. So I guess you could add something else to there, some other accessory pack, or maybe it's for a different skeet or something. But that's connected. I'm gonna shove that back on. Probably gonna maybe tape this on the inside of there. That might be a good idea. Install the ground cable back on the battery. And then this wire is one I added. I just gotta take some zip ties and zip tie it up and around and run it nice. Make sure it's not gonna touch anything hot and melt, like an exhaust. And then I'm gonna install the rest of that. Okay, so I have this zip tied up. Hole is right there, facing upwards. Hose comes down and around. You hose clamp this, don't over tighten it, it's only plastic. Nuts tight right here. You don't want to over tighten it. You can see this rubber starts to squish. I used a wrench and went ever so slightly on the nut. You can almost do it hand tight. It went too much at first and the rubber popped out over it and it just gets loose. So this is the tightest this is in the hole. Kinda don't like the setup. It's fine. But yeah, that's how that goes. And we finished the wiring. I have the wiring all zip tied up. Same thing there. That's hose clamped. And that's fine there. Okay, so I ripped this, cut the zip ties back out of that. This is the pump that came with the kit. I do not like it, and I'll show you why. So we'll just hit start. Pump always runs. And pull the key out. One. Make sure it turns off. Machine's off. This always runs when the machine's on, and it will run for 2.5 minutes until the machine is off. This pump is going to burn out. I do not like it. It's not how a bilge pump is supposed to work. So I'm going to cut the wire here. I'm going to use this plug. This is a bilge pump that has a float in there, and you could wire this. Hold on, this is annoying me. See, and it won't go off. So we're going to cut the plug there. We're going to mount the plug to these wires here, and this will run when there's water in the bottom. This is a 3/4 inch hose that will go into the same hose, same outlet on that. This came from Walmart. It was like $25. I actually looked at reviews on these. They were supposed to be pretty good. This is actually a bigger pump too, 600 gallons per hour. And that's 500. Not that that makes that much of a difference. So I'm going to zip tie that in there the same way. Put that plug on there. I'm going to leave the wiring how the kit came. I honestly would not recommend buying this kit. I would just buy this pump and then just wire it to the battery with an inline fuse or relay. However they recommend doing it. There is some kind of instructions. So, bilge pump's supposed to work. I had one on my boat, same thing. Works like a sump pump on a house. Water comes in, turns on, turns off. So with the factory wiring, this will run anytime the machine's on and for 2.5 minutes after it's off. If you wire it directly to the battery, if you dry dock it and water happens to get in it, or leave the cover off and water gets in it, this will also turn on as long as the plug's in there. So this is a better pump. That's not a good pump, and it's not worth the money, so this is going in. So this is the kit, the plug from the kit. This black wire was a ground. I just grounded it. I used the ground wire off this new pump, and then the red went to the brown, and the brown was the power wire that went to the fuse box. So the factory kit into this. I use these nice heat shrink connectors, and I'm going to tape it, and we're going to mount that in there. Okay, new pump's mounted in there. I used the factory bracket, zip tied it. 2 zip ties again. That hose went on there, hose clamped. And it is plugged in right there. Zip tied there. And that is a done system. Once again, the hose is here with the hole in the top. Goes in like that. And everything else is done. This is all tight here. And if we have the fuses in, I'm confident that's going to be wired properly. So no more playing with that. I got the fuse box cover on there. That pump should not turn on with power. Okay, so I'm back still working on this. I have the old pump out, and I put another pump in, and it turned out that pump does not have a float on the inside. I thought it did. It does not. So if you get a pump that has an internal float, the other pump was a little bit bigger than this, but they're a little bit bigger than that one. It will work, but it's too late. That's already installed. You could either get a pump with an internal float and everything I showed you will work, or you can use this factory pump or a better pump, or I'd put together my own kit because this is dumb. Should not run all the time. Here is a float switch. That came off of Walmart.com, so it took a couple days to get here, and we're going to take this and we're going to mount it right in there on one of these tabs. So when this goes up, it turns on. It's off. So I'm going to wire that in. So basically the power wire, which was, let me refresh myself, the brown wire will come off, the brown wire will come off that pump into one of these, and then it'll come out here and then go to the other side of the brown wire. So basically, snip the brown wire, connect one side of this and one side of this to each of those halves, and then bolt this in there and make sure the hose is not going to hold this down. Find a better spot for it. I'm just going to take a screw similar to the one that we mounted for that mounting bracket and just find a home for this. Okay. Final iteration of this. This is mounted, wire goes up, zip tied on top of the water box where the other wire is, and like I said, you just tap into that brown wire. So one end of the float wire goes here, one goes in the other one. You would have cut right up the middle of the brown wire, and that's how a sump pump, a bilge pump is supposed to work. Just like that. Now you can get a cheap pump and a float switch, wire this into the battery, and do as you please. It'll turn on all the time. Save yourself the money on this kit. It was really expensive, $130 or something like that. You can do this whole thing probably 50 bucks tops. I've done it before on a boat. I figured, brand new ski, let me splurge. Terrible idea. Do it this way. Kit's terrible. I'm just going to finish off this. I'm going to put this back together. It's been bothering me. It's been apart for way too long. Put this exhaust in. I'm going to button some stuff up. Put the rear deck back on. I got some hydro turf I'm going to put on there. This is all hard plastic, so nice rubber cushion on there would be nice. So we're going to do that. Okay, I finally got the ski back together. Bilge pump's done. In the kit, I found out what these nuts are for. They go on the bottom of these. These are through bolted. So if you lose nuts, that's what those are for. Get the Riva sponsons and the HydroTurf. This was easy. Just cleaned it up and just stuck it on there and just pressed real hard. Got the rear stands back on for the Trixx, but that looks good. So I don't know how I feel about the white, but that's fine. It looks good. Yeah, this thing is serviced. Got a pipe on there. The Riva sponsons should help with doing some tricks, some fun in the water. It's gonna be a little bit louder, maybe a little bit more power. Who knows? Got fresh oil. It was broken in last season, and man, it looks good. I like the colors. We're gonna be taking that out this year. It's got the that's at home. The speakers. That thing's pretty cool. How it unclips, and good option. I wish I went for. I'm not so sure. I should have went for the 3-up on there. This is the 3-up here, the extra section. The 2-up would have been here. I mean, the back pump would have been sticking out. I mean, I think you could do better wheelies and more maneuvers in the water with it, but it's a cool machine. I got the 3 just in case I ever wanted to pull a tube, because technically you need to have a spotter, so you need seats for everybody. So that's kind of the reasoning behind it, and that's what was really available. But yeah, this thing's fun. I love it. Long video. I'm going to try and edit this, post it up there, but like, comment, subscribe. Thanks.